Okay, let's dive into this. We've all heard of narcissism, right? And perfectionism. They kind of feel like they go hand in hand. But what if their connection isn't some fixed personality trait? What if it's more like a dance that changes from one moment to the next? Just think about it for a second. That drive you have to get things just right, where does it actually come from? Is it always the same motivation? Well, a new study suggests the answer is a big no, and that the reason you're chasing perfection can actually shift depending on how you're feeling, like right now, this very minute. So, psychology has known for a long time that these two traits are connected. People who score high on narcissism tests often score high on perfectionism tests. But a new study wanted to ask a totally different, much more immediate question. What's happening in our day-to-day lives? How do these feelings connect not over a lifetime, but from one hour to the next? To really get what these new findings are all about, we first need to be super clear on the terms, because it turns out neither narcissism nor perfectionism is just one simple thing. Nope, they each have two very, very different faces. First up, let's talk narcissism. On one hand, you've got grandiose narcissism. This is the classic version we all picture, someone who's confident, assertive, maybe feels a little superior. But then you have vulnerable narcissism, which is almost the total opposite. It's really driven by this deep insecurity and being extremely sensitive to what other people think. And guess what? Perfectionism has a split personality, too. You've got perfectionistic strivings, which is the positive motivational side, setting a really high bar for yourself and working hard to clear it. And then, on the other side, you've got perfectionistic concerns. This is the fearful side, that constant worry about messing up and what people will think of you. Okay, so with those four concepts in our back pocket, we can finally get to the heart of this explainer. A research team in Germany basically wanted to throw out the old idea of these as fixed, lifelong traits, and instead see how they bubble up and down as actual feelings throughout an ordinary day. So, the big question is, how do these feelings actually connect in the moment? When you feel that flash of confidence or that wave of insecurity hits you, how does it change your drive for perfection right then and there? That's the mystery a team at RPTU University set out to solve. And here's how they pulled it off, which is pretty cool. They got 285 students and tracked them for a whole week. Several times a day, we're talking up to 6 times a day, their phones would buzz. It was a quick survey asking, how are you feeling right now? Feeling superior? Worried about making a mistake? It was basically a real-time diary of their emotions. So what did they find? Well, here's the first big reveal. Whenever participants reported feeling those bursts of grandiose narcissism, feeling confident, powerful, on top of the world, their perfectionism looked really healthy. They had way more perfectionistic strivings and, this is key, fewer perfectionistic concerns. It was all about the thrill of achievement, not the fear of failure. But, and this is a huge but, the story completely flipped when people felt vulnerable. When participants reported feeling insecure, maybe a little ignored or misunderstood, that feeling was powerfully linked to a spike in perfectionistic concerns. In those moments, perfectionism had nothing to do with achieving a high standard. It was all about a paralyzing fear of being judged, of not being good enough. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so our feelings go up and down. What's the big deal? Well, it's actually a huge deal. Because these tiny moment-to-moment emotional patterns, they add up. Over time, they can actually shape our lives and careers in profoundly different ways. And this quote from the source really highlights the stakes here. The researchers point out that, in the long run, grandiose narcissism is often linked to things like leadership roles. But vulnerable narcissism, that's tied to things like aggression. So these aren't just passing feelings, they have real, tangible consequences. And here's how it all connects to paint the bigger picture. We already know that perfectionistic strivings are linked to good things, like doing well in school, and that perfectionistic concerns are linked to anxiety. So when you map these onto the two types of narcissistic feelings, you can literally see how those daily boosts of confidence versus waves of insecurity can push us down two completely different paths in life. So this all leaves us with a really powerful question to ask ourselves. The next time you feel that pull, that need to make something absolutely perfect, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this coming from a place of confidence, from a genuine desire to create something amazing? Or is it being fueled by a fear of what people will think if you fall short? The answer just might tell you everything you need to know.